Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Here is my co-host. We have Phil. How are you doing today, Phil?
Good. Some minor computer issues, but I think I'm good.
Yes, yes, you are good. This is good. I feel like we are stable here. So if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well then welcome. We are very happy that you are joining us. And if you have joined us before, well then welcome back. Please talk to us in the chat, especially about today's episode of The Amazing Race. It is the Mega Leg. It is episode 8 and 9 of season 32 of The Amazing Race. What were your overall thoughts on the Mega Leg?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I left I didn't enjoy it completely. I thought the Mega Leg itself, I thought the tasks were great, but there were other things that happened that I was kind of like, in this leg. So, but yeah, no, I thought that the tasks were good. Loved. India is fantastic. Whenever they go there, it just the culture shock is amazing. So, what about you? What did you think?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It was mega and long and whatnot, but for some reason it just seemed very anticlimactic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was no surprise, and it could have been, we'll probably talk more about it, it could have been the result or the aftermath of having that group of 5 working together. That could be why, like, we knew that the girl blondes were going to get yielded, and you know, we kind of had an idea of how the whole leg was going to turn out. So maybe that is why it lost a little bit of its like, ooh, what's going to happen? But I love the tasks. I thought everything looked beautiful. Like, I thought that they were all interesting tasks that I hadn't really seen before, if I can think of it. And so I enjoyed it. But I've seen more exciting episodes this season, and this wasn't the top of the excitement.
Yeah.
Considering it was supposed to be like mega, it was just like meh.
Mega.
Exactly. Well, before we get to these 2 episodes, you want to go back to the survey and have a little chat about that from last week?
Definitely. So last week we had a poll up. We do this every week, and our viewers let us know their opinions on things. So last week they thought from the leg 6-7 episodes, they thought that the hardest task was the repelling word scramble task. They thought that Gary and D'Angelo had the rights to that first taxi after the rappel. Nobody was really.
I still need to say, though, they had the right, but I think it would have been the honorable thing to.
Honorable. Yeah, definitely. I agree.
They're not Canadian. You can tell they're not Canadian. No way
a
Canadian
would do that.
Oh, are you sure you don't want to go? You know, like
nobody was really that frustrated with if they were a racer with Kaylin and Haley being saved with 2 non-elimination legs. Nobody was really overly upset about that. They did think that Aparna and Eswar were the biggest benefactors to the yield last leg. And the majority of people thought that all the teams of the Final 5 Alliance would make the Final 5. So good on everybody for calling that. Of the remaining teams, the team that got the most, or that people are enjoying watching the most, Gary and D'Angelo got that.
I guess like it must be because they're kind of like an odd couple. So like kind of like the do and like D'Angelo is like kind of like smart ass, but like and funny, but like they have interesting banter.
They have like they bicker back and forth, but it's like funny and it's not. Yeah, I think that might be it.
Really, it doesn't seem like either of them get offended.
No. Most people were surprised by the elimination last week of Leo and Alana. And the one word that people think of when they hear the word mega leg, my favorite ones that came out of this that I saw were breakdowns and sweaty. Love it. That's great.
Mega legs. I picture tears, like a team crying, or like can't do anything, and it gets snatched outside, and it's like, hey, and yeah, definitely a breakdown. Definitely a breakdown.
Definitely. Well, thank you everybody for doing that. That's great. We love hearing from everybody, and we've got another one. The link's already up there, but we'll talk about it at the end of this.
Yes. Okay, so let's get into this mega leg, episode 8. So they're leaving Kazakhstan. Will and James were first going out here. They're leaving at 10:15 p.m. on their way to India. To what is the name of the country? Hyderabad. I never saw it spelled, so I'm like, I don't know how. Did you know?
Gosh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna say it how I heard it, which was Hyderabad. If I'm offending anybody by my pronunciation, I'm sorry. Which is the cyber capital of India. So the order of people leaving, we had Madison and Riley. They were at 10:28, so they're about 15 minutes after Will and James, and another 15 minutes after, or 20, was Hung and Chi. Then at 11:24, so about an hour after the first team or after, actually more than an hour and a half after Will and James, was Gary and D'Angelo. And there's a lot of alliance talk that was starting to happen. Hung and Chi, Chi specifically was saying that they felt as though Gary and D'Angelo were the, recipients of a lot of assistance with the 5 alliance, and realizing that they haven't really got anything back in return from Gary and D'Angelo. And now from what we saw last episode, it doesn't seem like Gary and D'Angelo even have any sort of feeling as though they're not contributing to this alliance as much as everybody else. Like, what do you think about the dynamic of this 5?
Yeah, I think it's quite amazing that the 3 teams that, they obviously have been on the same page that they're going to be the final 3. And Gary and D'Angelo have no clue that this is happening. That I can see. I don't think that Gary and D'Angelo have any inkling that they're on the outs of this alliance. And I'm still in shock. I don't even know why they bother calling it an alliance of 5. It really seems to be an alliance of 4 anyways, because I haven't even seen them do anything with the other team, Eswar and Aparna. They never talk about any of them doing anything with them because they've always sort of been in the back. So I don't even know why they even put that in the alliance.
Because we hear that they have a name for the alliance, which
maybe that's it.
The 9-5, and so they did start that alliance together. I think they just never excluded Ishwar and Aparna, and so I think that, and maybe we don't see it, but maybe between the legs, maybe they talk, they strategize a little bit, maybe they give them a little bit of help. They probably printed the maps and stuff like that for them. And so maybe they consider them to be part of that unit and are willing to help them out, but they've never really been in the same proximity to be useful for having that alliance with them. Yeah, it's working out pretty well, surprisingly, that they're being able to get this far along and without anybody detecting it, which I find even more interesting.
I don't remember, and I might be wrong, but I don't remember an alliance of 5 ever on The Amazing Race making it to the final 5. So, obviously because they don't talk about alliances tons on the race because most people don't really believe in them, but it seemed to have worked. Obviously they really wanted to push this. It will be interesting to see in future races, will this be a thing?
Well, they're going to probably have to put something in place for that to stop. I don't mind it this season, maybe because it's the first time. But if we're seeing about how effective this mega leg happened, I think that it was to detriment of having this major alliance, that they're all kind of helping each other out. And so nobody stumbled and nobody was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And they weren't having to course correct and figure out what they had to do wrong and have the pressure of the race because they were told how to do something well. And so I don't mind it for the season because it's the first time and I like all the people that are involved in this alliance. But if we're talking about things being interesting, it's not that interesting moving forward,
Right.
Like, I would have loved to see James, because he doesn't seem to be that great at detailed stuff, and he gets flustered quite quickly, and he doesn't seem to figure it out quite sharply. And so if Riley hadn't told him, we'll talk about this more, but told him about the measurements, he probably would have been there for a very long time, you know what I mean? Or at least for one check, and then go back and oh, is this right? No, okay, another check. And so just all the stuff that equalizes these teams, it's been taken away because of the alliances helping each other out.
Yeah.
So we have Haley and Kaylin and Haley. They leave it at 11:40, and I think I know who's who now after both these episodes. So Kaylin is taller.
Yes. I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Yeah, and Haley is shorter. But I feel that their names should be flipped, because I feel like the shortest sister looks more like a Kaylin to me. So this is why I think it's been so confusing for me, is because I don't feel like Kaylin looks like a Kaylin. She looks like a Haley. But Kaylin is taller. And
I think so, yeah.
Older sister, seems like the older sister.
Yeah.
I think. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But I think that I got it, and I won't have to really refer to it today.
No, I think we're done now.
Okay, and so we have 11:50 leaving is Eshwar and Aparna. We actually learn that they were born in India and they moved to the United States when they were 2 years old. And they do have their quote, "We're techies."
Yeah.
So, this is going to finally come into play. It's from their home country. They cyber capital of India that they're going to be going to. They're techies. They're in, the tech world. And so hopefully this is going to be working to their, wait, I can't. Yeah. Sorry, Ron, I just got distracted by Ron's comment. But Haley's beard is longer than
well, last week, I don't know.
I think Kaylin's beard was longer. I feel like Haley's beard was more like a little, a goatee kind of shortish length. But you're making me laugh, Ron. Okay. So the one thing I wrote down though is I'm like, wow, India just never looks chill. I know this is the city part. This is the downtown area. I'm just there's just chaos from what I can see. And I know that they also have a lot of the spiritual sides of India with a lot of people doing retreats and yoga retreats and learning some sacred kind of traditions and whatnot. But when I see the downtown and them coming out of the airport and stuff like that, I'm just
yeah, chill's not the word.
No chill. Zero chill in India. So they had to go to, I don't even know exactly where they went to, but they had to go do these smog tests. And basically there's over 5 million vehicles that this little area, the Hyderabad is in, 5 million vehicles. And they had to put them to the test. So they had to flag down, people were calling them tuk-tuks, but I think tuk-tuks are in Thailand. And these were called autos, from what Aparna was saying. Am I wrong?
Yeah. They was it auto?
I think it was autos.
Yeah. Which would be cars, right, in French. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, they always say auto and autobahn and I don't know, inside of American word. But yeah, it's auto rickshaws.
I saw rickshaws on online. People were calling them rickshaws, but I was like, I don't know if that's right either, because
I think it's auto because it's motorized.
Motorized, yeah.
So they didn't seem to know, a few of these teams, what a rickshaw was. Is this a very foreign thing?
That shouldn't be. Rickshaws going all the way back, I think. So long ago, I think season.
You're not going to give me a season episode?
Season 3 for sure had rickshaws. I think season 2 did. Season 1 had bicycle rickshaws.
Well, even downtown Toronto, though, we have rickshaws. So I just
yeah.
like Riley was like, and Madison was like, what's a rickshaw? Like, I don't know what a rickshaw is. I was like, say what? Like, it just didn't seem like a foreign thing for them to be kind of confused by what they would be. So Riley, Madison, here's the alliance working together again, get a little bit of help from Will. And of course, one of the blondes, they're over there. Like, everyone was kind of over there at the same time, but the blondes weren't very commanding, and they let one of their auto rickshaws go. And so they're just, they just don't seem to have enough oomph, especially for India. They need a little bit more oomph for India.
Yeah, definitely.
Poor thing. So they had to enter the details about the rickshaw, and then they had to test the smog in the exhaust and print out some sort of certificate. One time, though, in this part, I don't know if you picked it up, but when Gary and D'Angelo were talking about like what they needed to do, I believe that D'Angelo said something like, "Oh, we have to do this," and he's like, "I know that." Gary was like, "I know that," and I was like,
"Yeah, yeah."
I heard that snappy tone. I feel like Gary might be getting a little bit of annoyance levels risen with their D'Angelo.
Yeah, I think actually that also, I think you could sort of feel it on Gary. He was a little stressed. This leg.
Why do you think he was stressed?
I think further in the leg, you notice that the way that he's like, nobody's helping me. No. Like he seems a little intense. So I think he's realizing that it's getting to crunch time now, and they may be on their own. So.
Well, they've been getting a lot of help.
They've been getting a lot of help. So.
Being in India without any help, that's kind of scary. Terrifying. So terrifying. And so, yeah, Aparna did mention, though, that tuk-tuk was being said instead of autos, which is why a lot of the teams weren't able to flag them down, because people didn't even know that they were referring to them, per se, when they're driving by. So Ashwar and Aparna seem to have a leg up in this country so far. So this is great. I'm happy about this. Just I want to see them excel and do well. And then I'm right, oh boy, the blondes are behind already.
Ready, yeah.
So I think it was, who was out first? Did I not write down who was out first? I just wrote the Detour.
Will and James.
So Will and James are out. Was it them, really? No, it wasn't. Yeah. Oh, Riley was out third. Riley and Madison were third, I think. Was Gary and D'Angelo?
Yeah, Gary and D'Angelo were second, yeah.
So they head over to the Detour. And the Detour was food app or number trap. Which one of these do you think we would have done?
Food app, or I probably would have, based on all the hectic cars and everything that was around, I probably would have said we should go do the numbers one, because I think going just from past seasons of the race and seeing going around India is difficult from what they show. I would be like, oh, I think we should do that one. I'm not sure which one was the right answer to do, because the teams that went to it later, so I don't know how they would have stacked up. But yeah, I think I would have picked the numbers one. What about you?
Well, so the food app one, they basically had to go make 2 deliveries, and they had to have a GPS, no GPS, but their GPS was like an actual person corresponding with them over the phone. Now, I don't think that I would have been able to tolerate doing the food app one, because if I'm stressed and I can't communicate properly back and forth, I would get probably really frustrated. And I don't know if that would be the right energy to be able to navigate and to listen and allow the person, give me instructions to really be heard. And I don't think that it would go well. For the level of stress and not knowing where I'm going and not maybe understanding, maybe the accent might just deter me from understanding what he's saying. I think it would have been too high stress of a situation for me to be calm and person. So I was really impressed with anybody that chose that one, because I was like, I would be choosing number trap because I like solving puzzles, and I'd rather go that route. So yes, I agree.
Yes.
Even though when we saw the food app one getting done, it seemed very easy when Hung and Chi were doing it. They seemed like exceptional.
Yeah, I think, and going off of what you just said there, surprisingly, like I think the right approach to that would have been collect your thoughts, be calm, walk. And the people that were on the phone helping with the directions actually seemed to be quite helpful. Like I didn't think that they weren't not helping. They were like, oh yeah, no, that's good. You're in the right spot. Like they were saying good things. So it's like, yeah, they were helping. So that's nice.
Yeah, they were actually helpful. I totally agree. Did you know, or is it true that India invented the 0 in binary code?
Well, that's what Phil said.
I just like I don't know the answer. I just thought maybe you'd have like.
I did not know that they invented the 0. So that, I mean, wow. I mean, we wouldn't have like money and stuff like that, right? Without the zeros.
I don't really actually know how that would be affected, because I'm wondering if it's meaning encoding.
Yeah.
Having I don't know what 0s and 1s actually mean and represent. Somebody could tell me, actually. I'd be interested. And if this is going to be a Jeopardy question, we would like to know the answer of this
beforehand.
So Excerpt and Part are excited because they're going to be doing something techie. They're choosing the number trap. Obviously, the blondes are last, and we're the only ones that ended up choosing the food app at this point. So Hung and Chi originally go over to the number trap, and everybody's there except for the blondes who went for the food app. And I really wish that the blondes maybe stayed with the pack a little bit. Like they think they're always kind of going out on their own, and so they never can see maybe another team that can help guide them somewhere. They're always just kind of lost by themselves and away from the pack. And I just don't know if it's because of the decisions they're making, or if it's because they're always behind. Like, why do you think that they never are with the pack, even when they get to places at the exact same time?
Yeah, even when they're with the pack, like, and the decisions have to be made, they usually pick the other thing. I don't know. I mean, I feel like had that taxi, I don't know. It's another one of those, like, what do you do in those situations? You got into a taxi, you're in somewhere where you're not comfortable completely, you don't know the language, there's a language barrier, and you're stuck in this taxi that you know is going the wrong way. Like, they knew that taxi was not going the right way. So what is the right thing to do at that point? Do you just like make a big scene and say, stop, we're downtown, and try and find somebody? Or
I would say, please go to a hotel and let's figure out where we need to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they did go to a hotel. It seemed like the hotel did, or wherever they pulled over, didn't seem to know where to go. But I would try again and be like, can we find another hotel, please?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's in the city which has all of the most technology for probably in India, right? Like that's what they're known for. So they probably would have access. All these businesses would have computers to look up, like MapQuest, the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Google Maps. Sorry, not MapQuest. What year is this? Sorry.
Was it 1996? MapQuest? Like, you printed it out at home and you went on dial-up?
I'm on my cell phone right now. Come on.
Okay, so what they had to do at the number trap was basically there were some 1s and 0s that were kind of moving around on a screen like a video game, and you're using your hands to kind of wipe off the 0s and the 1s without missing them. So they're like falling letters or numbers, and you have to like wipe them off. It seemed to me easy, but people had a lot of trouble doing this. Do you think it was just like the calibration of like in timing? Like, what was so hard about it?
We have to get Hum and Chi on here and find out, right? Because I don't know why they found it so difficult, and because the other two, I don't know. It just seemed like you just had to knock the numbers with your hands, and and you had two people doing it.
We're at home, though, I guess, like that. You should always remember that. But I was just kind of like, it seems pretty easy, like, or even just to be like, like, why can't you do that, you know? But maybe you had to be particular just because it was a censor of some sort. So maybe. But everybody seemed to get the hang of that pretty quickly. I think it was Will and James that got the number ones and zeros off, and then they had to solve a code. And so each block of 8 numbers was going to be a different letter, and then they were supposed to unscramble basically a little cipher.
Right.
Easy. I thought easy, but it seemed like Riley and Madison decided to mess that up. I don't even know what they did.
Yeah, I think that the code probably was the more difficult part of the challenge, just for the reason that it was like a long list of the numbers, and if you made one mistake in that, and it's just like you keep reading it out, you're like 1 0 0 1 1, and if you're writing it out on a piece of paper and somebody else is telling you the numbers, that's an easy mistake, I think, can be made there. But
oh my God, you know what this reminds me of? Okay, so you know how Nick and myself, we do a Byron Big Brother.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Big Brother. And so you've probably seen shows where it's like try to make you go mad, but like you have to count to a certain amount of time, so you have to like put your hand up at 10 minutes. So we had one of these, and we just had like all these like really annoying sounds, like laughing and cackling and nails on the chalkboard, and it's just like terrible sounds. But then we have this man with, I think it was a British accent, counting out the numbers of pi.
Oh,
1 4 2 6 5 4 3 1 1 1 2. We're just standing there, and like we're just like everybody's blindfolded and whatnot, and we're just dying of laughter because it's just so ridiculous with the 1 1, and like, it just went on and on for 10 minutes, just counting out all the numbers for pi. And so this is what this is reminding me of when you're talking about like 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 1. Like it could actually make you go a little bit confused. So James and Will, they solved the puzzle. They didn't help anybody, I don't think. They had to go to the 4th floor bunker, which is a little meeting room, and they go up there quickly and they get their clue, and they're pretty fast, and they have to travel to taxi. I wrote down MO, but I probably just didn't finish writing down the name of where they were going.
No, I don't have the name of the place that they were going, but I did have, yes, there's a yield ahead castle.
A castle. It was a castle, starting with an M-O. What was I going to write there? Monastery? Was it? What was it? Oh, it was mausoleum.
Mausoleum, maybe. Yeah,
okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They talked about a mausoleum. Yeah, I think it was a mausoleum. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, guys. You know, we make mistakes. So they were considering yielding the blondes just to help out with, you know, their alliance a little bit. And they knew that the blondes didn't have their yield anymore. What do you think about? I know that you find that James is a little bit sneaky. What do you think about this team potentially using it on the blondes?
Well, I wrote down, I was right. Will and James are the villains of this season, in my opinion. So I think that I get the move. I don't necessarily. They were told that this leg was the leg where the yield was the last time it was going to be used, which, of course, it comes up twice because it's still the same leg, being the mega leg. But I don't know. I would have liked to have seen a bigger move be made here. I get why they did, but the blondes were going to be far behind anyways. I don't know. My opinion on this for this episode was it left a bit of a taste in my mouth that both teams did that to the blondes when, I don't know. It didn't seem like it was good sportsmanship. It was maybe smart gameplay, but I don't know. I feel like they knew that they were so far behind those girls, and they were far behind. So was it the fairest thing? And they had got the girls to play it last leg. They went out of their way to get the girls to play it last leg, and then they reward them by putting the yield on them. That's villainous. That's sneaky.
Well, they did say that they're trying to make their own luck because they've had the best luck in this race so far. And I think that that's true. And so I hear what you're saying, and I can agree with that. And I can see how they could be coming off as the villains. But like also, there's been 2 legs where they kind of should have been gone already. And so I just understand that maybe getting them out, if there's like a non-elimination, maybe they would be able to take advantage of that. And so there's also that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have used it personally. I don't think, and if I did use it, I don't think I would have used it on the blondes. I probably would have used it on Gary and D'Angelo, just because I would hope that they would just go home, and then I wouldn't have to deal with the fact that, like, I felt obligated to be giving them clues and hints and stuff like that. And I wouldn't be that scared of their retaliation. You know, they're not that of a team, in my opinion.
I also think that it was interesting because they were in first. And so they weren't in any real danger. And I'm assuming that the teams knew that there was going to be 2 of the chances to use it in the mega leg because they were doubling everything. So they probably told them, double the yield. So why not wait in case you find yourself in trouble? Why not wait until that second one to use it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess they didn't know if there's going to be like an elimination maybe in between the mega leg.
True.
So maybe that is why. Like maybe it was a keep racing, but there's elimination. Like who knows what.
That's right. That's true.
So I think that they wanted to ensure that the person that they used the yield on was going to be going home. And I think because they learned the hard way that it's possible that their target won't go home. And so I think they just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to come back on them.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as the yield is not now done, I'm sure in the back of everyone's heads also is there will probably be another U-turn on the leg, and so if we keep our word of this 5, maybe we won't be the ones that get U-turned by anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They couldn't really do it to anybody else. I probably wouldn't have done it myself, but I get why they did it. So they have to go to the mausoleum, and it's who's ready to flip their lid. And so they had to go in these, I don't know, walls and kind of look and find a digital version of a man wearing a turban and like some nice garb and match the turban with and where they're standing within this structure on outside, like on like a little square.
Yeah.
Did I explain that right? Like, can you help me with that?
Yeah, so it was like they were in, I guess they were like in almost like a labyrinth down in the, like, or like, I don't know, like a dungeon or whatever, and there are different pillars. And then they had to, with the pillars where they saw the picture in the tablet, run upstairs, match it up, align it, and put the right person with the right headgear, with the right design on it, in the right spot.
Yeah. Challenging. I thought this was
challenging.
Because like the colors weren't exact. I don't know if it was just because my TV, maybe they're more exact like on in real life. But I was like, colors are kind of off. And I thought that it was hard for me from the TV perspective to see where these pillars were and how you would be figuring out where to line it up on the ground. Like very obvious in my opinion.
Yeah, like they were like, oh, and it matches the column, but I didn't see any real distinction on the columns. And then when they showed like what the tile looked like on the top, like they did have some sort of design to it, but I didn't quite associate that design. I didn't see it. I just thought that they were counting out where it was down there. But
the design, like on the actual like tile on the ground, I think that was for the person with the turban to realize where they were supposed to stand if they were in the Okay, they are correct if you're standing on the W tile, and so I think that's for them to know if it's correct. That's sort of that makes sense to me because I wouldn't be able to tell what those tiles were from what we could see on the show through the tablet.
No. And it was a very interesting. I agree with you on the color thing. I think James was the first one there, and he went down, and the first person had a pink turban, but on the computer screen it looked more purple. And then he grabbed a pink person and had them stand there. And before they even said anything, I was like, "That's wrong. That's not even the right color." And then it turns out that was the right color, like because it was pink. But yeah, I think the way it was coming across on the TV, or they were more lenient with the color of what it was and in the picture. So I
totally agree with you. Yeah. Like, oh, wrong. And like, right. Wrong. Interesting. So Hung and Chi weren't able to pick up the number trap kind of hand swiping motion. And so they decided to do what is usually the kiss of death as switch detours and go and do the food app. And I'm like, ooh, and it's the food app one? Man, like that's ballsy to be behind and be doing that. And so they kind of move over there, and they got there before the blondes, which I was surprised. And the blondes were in a taxi and lost, as we were talking about already. And Hung and Chi were able to try at least 6 times or so the number trap thing, and then get to the food delivery food app, and still no sight of the blondes.
Yeah, the blondes apparently got into the same drive, had Michelle or Victoria driving them. I don't know what happened there, but they got lost. Like,
Yes. Funny though is talking on the phone with the navigator, and I thought they were excellent. How they executed this. Like, they're running at a good pace, and she's just like just nailing out landmarks. She's like, okay, I see da 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 on the right. They're like, go straight. I see da 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 on the left. They're like, turn left. Like, it was just like, I thought it was very seamless, their communication, and I thought it was impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. It was very impressive, and I mean, I don't know if that's something she would want to do, but I think she'd be very good at that. Like, I mean, she knew exactly what landmarks to say that I'm sure over here are Uber Eats drivers and that they all look for these certain places to help them find things. So yeah, very smart.
Yeah, it was very, very impressive. I wrote down good system. They were so they were all just like happy when they're finding the first restaurant, and like I was happy that it wasn't a bad choice for them to switch the detours. I was like, good, it's going well for them. Like, I didn't want them to fall super far behind just because they switched, because I thought that they would be able to get it. But if they know themselves better than I know them, but I didn't want them to switch. I was like, don't do it, don't do it, do it. So apparently the girls had gone past the, I can't remember what it was called, Platinum? Anyways, the building that they needed to go to get the food app. They kept on driving past it. They didn't see it. They finally
saw it.
Where they had to go. You have a doggy?
Yes. Did you see the dog?
No, you didn't.
Or did you? Oh, yes.
I'm like, I can hear.
Pardon?
What kind of dog?
So she's a rescue. She's German Shepherd Corgi mix.
Whoa! So like,
I felt sorry for the parents. But she's got like big fur here in the front. She's beautiful. She's my baby.
Like, short legs but then really big body.
Yeah. Agatha.
Does her head look like
Come here.
shepherd, but then her legs look like a corgi?
Agatha. Come over here.
Cutie.
There she is.
Hello. Oh my goodness. So apparently there's like a dog's amazing race or something like that my best friend told me about. I haven't looked into it, but that just reminded me because she has a corgi.
Well, Agatha wouldn't be that good at that because she just likes to lay around.
She watched it though.
She does nothing.
Her dog is definitely chill. Like, you have a stick in his mouth and he is fine, just like walking.
Love it.
So the girls finally get to the food app. They just have zero hustle though. And I think that's also why it didn't really bother me that much that they got yielded twice, because it's like they don't even care that much.
Yeah.
Like try to come back and try to get it. Like, I know that they were defeated. I get that. I know that it was just like kicking someone while they're down. I totally get that. But it's just kind of like, I want them to see them have more hustle here, you know?
It's been the whole race. This has been their thing that they just, I think they just got this vibe that they weren't one of the stronger teams. So they're just happy to be there and they're just going to go for as long as they want, which sucks because like I would have liked to see them have that up because you never know what's going to happen on the race. I mean, you have a good leg and somebody has a bad one, you know. I mean, you can push ahead of a strong team, and they have. They've gotten past some strong teams, but nothing ever in their head seemed to like switch, and they went, "Oh, you know what? We could win this." And it always just sort of seemed like, yeah. And it was good that they were having a good time. I mean, they there was a couple times this like they said stuff, and I was laughing. Like I was like, I'm liking these girls, but I wasn't liking them enough to go, they deserve to win. But I was liking them in the sense of, you know, it's nice to also see teams just enjoy the race as well.
Would you switch them out for anybody else that you had on your team? Because they were our unselected duo.
Well, I mean, knowing how Nathan and Cody did, I would have taken.
You knew what we were gonna do.
I would have kept the girls over Nathan and Cody. I mean, yeah.
I can still not even imagine Nathan and Cody doing any of the legs that have happened after their elimination. Like, I think it would have been challenging.
Yeah.
For sure. So we see James, he's at this roadblock it's a roadblock, right?
Yep.
He's at this roadblock first, and he gets the first one wrong, as you're saying. He had the right color turban and the right turban, but the wrong placement. And he didn't seem to realize that it was the tile that's wrong. He was assuming that it was the headpiece that was wrong. Yeah. And so he wasn't course correcting correctly. Gary finally gets over there, and he is a lot better with detail than a lot of the people racing. He gets his on the first match, and Riley gets one too. I don't know if they had one before that we didn't see, but they definitely seem to be doing better right out of the gate over James, which I was surprised about. And
yeah,
he just kept on getting the placement wrong. And so at that point I was like, okay, but maybe like doesn't say in the clue that they need to be standing on this tile. I'm like, right?
Large letters once again for James and Will. Read the clue.
I wrote that down too. Where did I write it down? I wrote it down somewhere. Maybe it's still later on. But I said the exact same thing. I was like, why are you not reading the? Oh, right here. I might be backwards, but James, read the clue. Read the clue. Even if you knew.
Yeah.
Right, and you had all the right information. If you kept on getting it wrong, there's something that you're doing wrong.
And they've learned this lesson. Like, this is the truck. I remember the truck. Like, I mean, they've learned this lesson. Like, and they keep saying, they're the ones who keep saying, listen, we know the Amazing Race. You got to read the clue.
So read the clue.
Read the clue.
So Eshwar and Aparna get there. And wait, so what I read here, Eshwar and Madison, did they work together or something for a second? Why did I put those two names together? Man, you think I watched this like a month ago. It was just yesterday.
Well, I had them written down for something. I don't know if you noticed, but before this, I know that Madison was complaining that Gary and him were fighting over finding that one person. Like, they were sharing the same screen and then trying to find the person for the same square. And he was getting.
That's why. That's what I wrote it down for. Yeah. Because they both were trying to get the same person. And the one person had the right square, but they didn't know if they had the right person to the right square. So that's where they had a little battle. And Ishwar got it correct. Am I right?
So then Eshwar was doing it, and before this, Madison was complaining that Gary was doing this to him. But if you actually watched it, you could see Madison was actually trying to steal it from Eshwar. And I was like, wait a minute, like, you're doing the same thing, but to a different team. Like, and so I was glad that Eshwar got that one right, because I was like, yeah, that's not quite fair. If you're complaining about one person doing it, you shouldn't be then in the next scene with your thing pushing in there trying to.
I think it's also, though, that they thought that they're working as a team a little bit, and so
maybe, yeah.
he can get away with that. I'm not sure, but I found when we go back to the food app, we're kind of bouncing back and forth between these two.
Yeah.
People that are ahead of the pack and people that are still in the back. And so like they had like a guy working out and another guy just hanging out in their park getting these food deliveries. And then there was one that was in an actual building. How do you get that gig?
Yeah.
Gig.
How do you get to be the cameraman to film those people?
Just like hanging out there.
I loved it. That was great. Like the guy in the park was hilarious. He just kept doing different things in the park. Like he's doing yoga, he's doing racing.
So funny. He's like, hey, we're gonna pay you to hang out here all day and just sign for a food delivery, 3 or however many food deliveries. So I thought that was really funny. They're gonna have the same location. I guess it makes sense to make it equalized there. But I did notice that the blondes did it in a different order, but they did the same locations. This was where I wrote, James, read the clue. Funny. Gary and Ishwar helped James with his pillow references. So maybe he did understand the clue, but how he was counting was wrong. But he should have picked up more quickly that his counting was wrong. And I think that would happen if he read the clue and he was just like, okay, well, maybe I have this wrong. Like, let me just make sure that I'm placing these people in the right way. Like, I'm just wondering why he didn't course correct sooner. That'd be cool.
And this is the part where I started to get kind of about things, because I was like, we kept getting drummed into our head that the Alliance of Three is doing all the work and the other people aren't helping them, and in that exact scene right there, the two teams that were on the outs helped their alliance, right? Like, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's completely true that they're not all helping, because like last week we saw that there was some help from D'Angelo to Hum and that, but the narrative is that these 3 teams are saying that the other 2 aren't really helping in the alliance. So I don't know. I just kind of felt like the editors were trying to make us feel that Gary and D'Angelo don't do as much, but maybe they do, and they're just, I don't know.
I hear you for sure. So, okay, we figure out the pillar references, and he goes and does one. He finally gets it correct after he's been told this stuff. But out of the roadblock first is Riley and Madison. Like, they're done. Gary and D'Angelo were second out of there. And she was actually happy. She and Hung and Chi were happy to have caught up with the front of the pack again, and still able to see that I think Ishwar was still there doing the task when Hung and Chi arrived at William. So I was happy that they caught up. What were we going to say?
So I have 3 notes about this. I wanted to also say, wow, the guys that they had, I was like, woo! Like, I thought that they were all dressed up so nice. They looked very handsome. Number 2, I think Chi was actually the MVP on this task, because he came in and like got it like right away and knew what to do. And I have a big how for Eswar. I did no idea how he fell so far behind. He seemed to understand the task, and I didn't get, like, we never really saw him struggle. He just kept getting things wrong, but he seemed to know what he was doing. Yeah,
I'm wondering if it had to do with the fact that some people had started to have placed them already, because we saw when the girls got there that they didn't have places to put people, and so maybe he didn't really account for that, and then he was like, oh, let me just try you on this one. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to, I don't know what he did or why he was taking so long, but Hung and Chi overtook him, and they were out fourth. So third was James and Will and James, and she beat Ishwar out of that roadblock, which I was shocked by. And then the poor girls finally get to the yield. And that's the end of episode 8. I felt pretty sad for them, but they were just like, oh, okay, they got us.
Yeah.
Good attitude, but I want more fight. You know that. Episode 9, though. Okay, so I thought I didn't know it was going to be like 2 separate episodes. And so like, I was like, when it was done, I was like, oh, are they breaking up the mega leg? I'm like, that seems weird.
Yeah.
And then it came out after. I was like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, that was some sort of CBS reasoning. I don't know why they did that.
Unless it got all messed up with that when we're supposed to have the original double leg, maybe it messed up their whole.
Maybe. I would have thought though that mega leg would always be together anyways, but
or maybe it would continue.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I thought it was weird that it was like a break and then like new credits and stuff like that. So I thought it was strange. So episode 9. The blondes, you hear them saying just from the beginning, like, I guess that they consider us a threat. But they're happy that it's a mega leg and that they have time to catch up. It's not like they're not out just because they've been yielded. Good attitude.
Good attitude. Wrong, but good attitude.
Very well. So they have to go to a Charminar bazaar, which is like, I love bazaars. They're so cool, but to do tasks on the Amazing Race at a bazaar in India, that sounds terrifying. So the Mind 5 is the alliance that we've been speaking about the most of this season. But the true alliance, this is Will and James talking. The true alliance is Hung and Chi and Raleigh and Madison, and then obviously Will and James. They have to go to an Indian monument and they have to choose this or that for the detour. Would you have chosen this or that? You think?
Without knowing, I prefer the word that over this, but I don't know. What about you?
Why do you prefer the word that over this?
I have no idea. I just like the word that.
I think I would have chosen this because it seems closer.
Oh, yeah, this or that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. I probably would have.
I look at it as this or that. you can have this or you can have that.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Juan, what do you think? I never thought of it that way. I was like, this, or
the car.
Oh my god, so funny. Okay, I understand your rationale. Then I probably would want thinking about that way, but not like that. So what this was is they had to go and find like a little bazaar stand and find a set of 7 bangles that are going to match a bride's bangles. So bride has like 7 bangles on one arm. They had to find the matching set for her other arm in a vat, we'll call it, or a cart or whatever, of thousands of bangles that are all jeweled and look similar but different. What did you think about that task? Are you frozen?
No. Sorry. No. I thought it was a great task. I mean, that's a tough one, right? That's a needle in a haystack kind of challenge. Trying to find things, and like there looked like there was quite a number of things that were very similar, but wrong. Like so.
Very hard. And it's something one that you can't really help the other team with, which I like. It's like you kind of just like have to find it or not find it. You can't be like, oh well, like I found this corner that like there was, I mean, it's just so random that at least everybody had to just do it on their own.
So now, if you pick this, because you said you were going to pick this, if you pick this, you got to that. What would be your reaction to it? Would you be like, okay, I can do this, or would you be like, oh crap, what did I do?
No, I can do that.
Okay.
I tend to be a person that I see, like I'm good at puzzles and stuff like that. And usually when I do puzzles is I look at all the pieces and I can just find the next piece that I need. So I find that I'm good at kind of picking out what I need. I mean, I've never tried that specific task before, but I would assume that I would be able to spot the difference quickly.
Okay.
I think. What about you?
Oh yeah, I like those kinds of things, like searching for things, looking for the one right thing. I actually, when I did my Amazing Race, the roadblock was they had a puzzle and 2 pieces were missing, and then they had the matching puzzle, all the pieces into one big bowl, and you have to find the two. And that one I surprisingly did really fast. I was like, oh, this one, and it was like 1,000 pieces in the bowl. I was like, okay, good. So it's a good attention to detail sort of challenge, and I'm pretty good at that. So,
yeah, I think I would do pretty well. I wouldn't have been like, no, this is impossible. I wouldn't have had that feeling at all.
No.
At all. I was like, Aparna chose that. I'm like, haven't we learned not to let Aparna choose anything? I do have to say though, this entire leg, she looked gorgeous. Not that she didn't look good before, but it was noticeable that maybe she was wearing a little bit of makeup and she doesn't usually wear makeup or whatnot, but like she had like a glow and like her red lipstick looked beautiful. Like, and when she was even doing her confessionals, I was like, wow, what a beautiful woman. So not that she wasn't before, but it really stood out in this leg. I thought she looked really pretty.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah, just noticing these things and her choosing that. Everybody else is choosing this, and Aparna chooses that. It's the wrong choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Riley and Madison finished that Bangles task. It's seemingly pretty quickly. Hung and Chi get to the roadblock where they decide to actually do this, and they decide to change to that, thinking that it'll be a lot quicker, and a lot of people wouldn't choose it because it was seemingly going to be grosser. Because what they had to do, it is kind of gross, is they had to fit molds for dentures of like random people's mouths, and then they also had to polish their dentures and then fit them in their mouth.
I don't know what it was about this episode, but like I kept noticing like the other people, not the racers in it, and that woman was so cute who was getting her teeth put in. I was like, I want to meet this woman. She's so cute.
It has a fan club, people were like, who's that woman?
But yes, I would picking that if I would have, and I went to that place. I would have been like, no way. I do not want to touch people's mouths. I'm going. That's gross. We gotta go.
I would have done it, but it's pretty gross. It's just so. Just like really feeling on the gut, like it's just not like it just doesn't look great,
No. And even the holding teeth and polishing them. Like I have a thing about bones and stuff. I don't like that. So.
So that's your that.
That's my that. That.
Like that. Like the jewels are all like this.
That. I'm like, yeah, this.
So I would have been right with my assessment this time around. So how can she do that? And basically you can get a set of teeth in India for around of $3 US, which is shocking. But there was only one station, which I thought was kind of annoying. This is the first part. I think that they could overlap once the first molds kind of went in and they were correct. But I thought they should have had at least 2 people that could do the molds, because when Ishwar and Aparna got it wrong, they didn't swap out and let Hung and Chi try.
I noticed that, yeah.
Maybe they should have done that, but I think it's because they're probably working with the same person and like they just have to get the mold right. But I think that they should have had multiple stations for this particular task, because they had multiple stations for the Bangles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like it was a free for all at the Bangles. So
I was kind of disappointed. I think Hung and Chi were kind of like, oh, did we make a mistake? Like, like we have to wait for this. Like, I'd have been so impatient. But they got to at least watch, observe, and learn from maybe any mistakes that they were making, or like how to do it well the first time. So I guess they had that kind of a leg up, we'll say, but not really though. I was pissed. I would have been very annoyed if I were them. So Riley Madison, they get over to a palace, and the route info is getting the royal treatment. And of course, your favorite thing about these brothers is their beards, and they definitely made a
what? They have beards?
But definitely made some reference to the beard. I think is it this one? No, not yet. So they had to wear like traditional garb, we'll say, and they have the horse and carriage ride. And this is where they decide to yield the blondes again.
Yes.
Ouch. Ouch.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Like, yeah, that's like beating a dead horse. Like, do we really need to do this? I know that they were worried about Hum and Chi and how they were doing, but I'm just like, it's a quite a mean thing. I don't know. I think that they could have left that for Hum and Chi to decide to do, or a team that exactly maybe knew where other teams were.
They must have decided as a group that whoever gets there first is just going to use it.
Just do it. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Probably. And they already saw that Will and James did do that for the group. So I think that they felt as though
it's fun. It is funny though. It's the two teams that encouraged the girls to play it last episode, right? Like they were like, use yours. And then they were like,
I mean, I guess I got the players of the season. They're on my team.
That's right. Yeah.
Just kidding. So the roadblock, they go to the roadblock now. Who wants to set things straight? So basically it's setting up a very fancy table setting. And it is actually that same place where Madison was talking about the beard, and like they're trying to look like, oh, like good looking guy, like similar beard work. This is silly. We're back with Hung and Chi at the dental place, and Hung isn't actually disgusted because she has kids, and she says kids are disgusting, and if she needed to give someone a colonoscopy, she would. What's your limit? Would you give someone a colonoscopy on the race?
Well, first off, what season will that take place on? Is that like when they run out of ideas and they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a colonoscopy.
This is like going to be going to like
Amazing Race like 70.
LA, where they ever do colonoscopies and laser treatments or something.
We're going to give somebody an enema, right? Let's just
or like a rectal thermometer,
yeah, I mean, and that's good to know that she's all in for this race. Like, if they get into any digging in the poop tasks, which they've done in past seasons, maybe she'll be like a pro for that.
The blondes making another, in my opinion, poor decision. They choose to do that. They read what that is about. They're like, oh, cute.
They're done. They're done at this point. They're just like, oh, great.
There's nothing cute if I was reading like, ooh, fit some people for dentures, cute. Like, it's not the same for me at all. So Riley had the other task. He notices the ruler and he realizes that there's going to have to be some precision that's being made. But he made a gross estimation as to what he thought it was going to be and took it as fact. He just said, it has to be all between this ruler. I was like, I don't know if that would be what the precise measurements would be. Like, why would you need a ruler if it just needs to be in between a certain amount? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was a weird thought process to have. Like, I thought that maybe to be like, okay, I can understand it being the 2 meters or 2 feet apart, like the 24 inches. I get that. But like, I would have thought if you're going to measure the bottom, you're going to measure the top to the bottom and maybe measure the distance between the plates and you got a ruler and it has lines. It's not just a stick. So
yeah,
I thought he would have used it more effectively his first time anyways.
Yeah, I think actually it was a smart challenge. It was a tough one, I think, in some ways. I think it doesn't come across as a tough one, but they found a way to make them have to be very, very detail oriented. So,
I mean, I have to say that I think I'd do this one probably. I've worked probably 1,000 bar mitzvahs and catering for weddings, and so having to set up tables, not necessarily particularly with a ruler, but you kind of end up getting a little bit OCD about how precise you want it, because like, okay, it needs to have 6 chairs here, and it needs to have 4. Like, you know, you kind of get into the math of making the table settings look perfect. So if I saw the ruler stick, I'd be like, oh, okay, so maybe like this needs to be like an inch apart from each other, and this is an inch up. Like I would think that it would be like that super detailed, but I think I would have been good at that challenge. What about you? Would you have done it?
I would have been okay at the challenge. I mean, especially after figuring out what to do. Yeah, no, I don't think that I would have had any issues. I've been on cruise ships with the whole learning how to do they teach you how to do the little napkin things and all of that. So yeah, I don't think that would be difficult. And again, it's a lot of detail. Like, I mean, making sure you're picking the right things, the utensils properly, and that. So I think that I think we probably both would have been pretty good at this one. So
for sure. And we see Riley giving some information to James about the task, and James was able to get it on his first try. And I don't think that James would have been able to do it well his first try without the help of James or help of Riley.
Yeah, it's interesting. So obviously the rule of who can do how many roadblocks a teammate can do is in effect, because James said when he picked to do it, he said, let me get a couple more under my belt or something like that. So that's obviously happening here, where people are having to do maybe 6 or 7, and then your partner has to do 6 or 7. So yeah, I thought I was kind of surprised he did choose to do that one, because he seems to get more stressed about being very particular about things. But good on him, and good on that alliance of 3.
It's working out.
It's working out.
So Riley and Madison leave out first, and they're going to the pit stop. And it's welcome to Hydro. Or they were singing and like chanting. Like, can you do the thing with the chanting?
Fantastic greeters.
Do it for me, please.
Oh, I can't do that. That was amazing.
It was good though. I wrote it down. Welcome to Hydro. I don't know. I don't remember the tune, so I won't sing it. But I loved when they came in. It was very.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. So yeah, James finishes his first try, and on his way out, he actually explains to Hung what she needs to do to be able to execute this challenge.
I need to go back, sorry, to when they won. There was something exciting that happened.
Where?
They won a cruise.
I don't even remember that. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, so they won a Caribbean cruise, and I just thought, oh no, they haven't been given their prizes yet until it airs. Now they've got this cruise, and it's probably going to be years before they're able to go on this cruise.
Well, even just like all the trips that have been won, like,
yeah.
One good thing is that they don't get their prizes until the show airs. Yeah. So the millionaire has been a millionaire in theory, but like that money's not even like building interest in their bank account. It's building interest in like CBS's bank account. Yeah. But you know, they didn't get any of those prize money, and none of that can get to them until after the race airs. So at least they don't have it, and then are like, oh, we can't use it.
Oh, right.
You know, a month from now, they'll be like, well, maybe we can use it in 6 months. So it won't be as like, ugh. Or even better, maybe CBS will decide to refund it and give them cash.
Hopefully that happens. Because, I mean, especially with something like a cruise, and I love cruising. I'm a cruise person, but I think it's going to be a while still before people are going to be feeling safe to do that kind of traveling. So, yeah. Number 1 prize.
I didn't even write it down. Just like... So Gary and D'Angelo were third. So Gary didn't get any help. He didn't make any confessionals about like not getting any help, even though it seemed very obvious that he was being left out. I didn't hear. Did you hear any sound bites of him talking about
He did say at one point, like, nobody's helping or I'm not getting the help or something like that. But it wasn't like he wasn't getting frustrated at the other people. It just seemed like he just felt like he was like they were all in the dark.
And then the vagueness though when Riley left.
Riley was quite vague.
He could be really very, very like precise about some things.
Yeah.
Like, oh God. If I heard him say that, I'd be like, okay, so there's no more lions. Okay, got it. Noted. Like, that was a very, I don't want to give you information kind of response.
Yeah.
But they still managed to, Gary still did a good job. I think he did a bit better job than D'Angelo would have done. We've learned that Gary's a lot better with details than it seems like D'Angelo is. And so it's good that he did choose that challenge. And then I was like, oh, the poor girls made it to the mat while the lights are still on. Everybody else came in. I didn't even write down everybody else coming in.
So it was Hum and Chi at 4th and Eswar and Aparna at 5th.
Oh yeah, they came in at the same time, right?
Yeah. It actually looked when Hum finished, it looked like they were a little bit ahead, but then it was like a race to the mat, so it wasn't very, very much. I did think that the girls handled the second yield really well. They said, well, I guess we deserved it. It was karma. And they were laughing about the whole thing, and like that's just about the time where I was just like, you know what, good on them. Like they got their thing out of the race that I think that they wanted to get out of it. They weren't. I think they knew that they weren't going to win, but they handled it really well.
For a mega leg, though, how did we get through it in an hour and 10 minutes? Like talking about it.
Yeah, it wasn't very exciting. I think I actually think I preferred, what I liked about this episode was India, the people in India, the tasks, and that. There was something missing with the players. I don't know, like I don't know what it was. There was just something wasn't there, and I'm like, now all of these other teams are done and we're at the 5. I hope that this stays interesting and it isn't.
No, I think it will get more.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we're talking about like big blob alliances that pick off things on, say, like Amazing Race. Like we're always like, okay, it's boring until they get down to like this alliance, and then we're going to start going at each other. So I'm just going to echo what I said in the beginning, was that I feel like this episode was boring because we just knew that there was the girls that were done.
Yeah.
So just like, it's kind of like if somebody chooses to quit on Big Brother and they're like, oh, we're going to vote you out this week. And so they don't need to be strategizing. They don't need to be trying. Like they know what's happening. Everything's going down as planned. So, I
think we were expecting, with it being the mega leg and they're pushing, we were hopeful, but knew that what was going to happen, but we were hopeful that maybe like something would have happened bigger, like maybe the alliance imploded a little bit.
Wouldn't it be cool though if like there was an express pass on this leg or something like that?
Right.
Got the express pass and like just took them off like to the end, to the pit stop in first, and then that alliance of 5 had to like cannibalize. That would have been cool.
That would have been good.
Take notes, CBS. Take notes. Do you have a new survey for us this week?
I do. Let me pull that up. All right. So what do I have for us here? Oh, somebody's already filled it out. All right. Good job, whoever that was. Okay, so question 1. On a scale of 1 low, 5 high, how happy are you that the first official mega leg took place in India?
I mean, I think it's the perfect location for it to take place. Somewhere that would maybe be equally as interesting and wild and potentially chaotic. Would be maybe China would have been interesting, or Japan would have been another maybe place where a lot of or the Philippines might have been another with a lot going on in like a compacted area. So those would be other countries that might have been interesting to see a mega leg. But I think from what we've seen in the past of India, I think it's definitely the perfect backdrop for mega.
Yeah, I mean, from season 1, India has always been the country where you go, okay, it's changing. The race is changing now. This is now about where you are. So get ready to run. It was good. I would say that I was happy that India was the first official mega leg. I know there's been like must keep running race legs and continue racing legs and that. So we have had them, but yeah. Do you think Gary and D'Angelo have any clue the other teams are fed up with them?
No, I still don't think they do, really.
No.
Not fed up. Oh, something that happened at the end of the leg was Phil told the blondes about the alliance, and they're like, "Oh my God, it has a name!" And so they really didn't know that there were some teams that were working together. It seems like they definitely kept it a bit of a secret. And so if they kept that a secret, they probably were pretty concealed with their disdain for Gary and D'Angelo about how they were acting in the alliance.
For sure.
I think that it's hidden enough, but it might come to a head next episode.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Gary and D'Angelo, the way that the editing is doing, it's either going to be the teams wish that they could do something to Gary and D'Angelo, but they're too far ahead, or Gary and D'Angelo learn that the other teams are targeting them and they get targeted, like with that U-turn or something, because something's coming up. There's gonna be some fighting, I think, coming out of this. Which mega leg task do you think was hardest?
Maybe the food delivery task or the virtual reality one.
Okay, yeah.
Because it seems as though the colors were off, and so that would probably throw me off, and it didn't seem very easy to see where the markers for the pillars were. So those two both seem like they could easily cause the most trouble in the leg.
I agree with you. I think I think I would have struggled a little with the dental work, but I don't think it was necessarily a tough, like a hard task. I think it was more of a squeamish task, sort of. Did you like that Kaylin and Haley were yielded twice during the mega leg? Not, do you think it was a good idea? Did you like that they were yielded?
No, I didn't feel like the yields needed to be used, but it seems like the producers are pushing for these yields to be used.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was necessary. I didn't think that it added anything other than made me feel bad for the girls.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessary for me it didn't bring anything extra to the race that didn't already exist. So no, I don't think it's necessary.
Do you think the teams that didn't use their yields, do they get to take those home?
As like a souvenir?
Yeah. Or do the producers take them?
I mean, probably if they give them back, the producers would take them, but probably if they kept them, they wouldn't be like, can I get that hourglass back, please? I feel like they would keep them.
Since there are no more yields, do you think yielding Kaylin and Haley instead of any of the other teams was the smartest move, or should a bigger move have been made?
I think you already kind of addressed this before, but I think it is the best person because you want the person that you use it on to be going home. And so if any of the other teams did not go home, and then there's other elements like the U-turn or whatnot coming up next, if anybody's bitter or upset with you, you just, like at this late in the game, you don't really want them to retaliate. So I think if they had to choose someone, it was the best choice. Or maybe, they could have done Aparna and Ishwar because they don't seem to be that aggressive and wouldn't be coming back like super bitter about it. Like, I don't think that it would cause that big of a stir. So.
In honor of the currently unappealing Caribbean Cruise Prize, over all the seasons of Amazing Race, what has been the best prize to be given out and what has been the worst prize?
I mean, I think the best prize is large sums of money. It's like 10,000, 10,000, 15,000. Like there's some big ones before. So obviously those are great because money is always useful. I feel like there's some worse ones though. I can't think. I don't know. Do they get like a pair of mopeds ones? I don't know. Like
yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
I mean, actually, no. I wouldn't mind some mopeds. I don't know. Can you remind me some of the?
I think that they got bike one time. There was like bikes that the winners got or something. Yeah, and for some reason, I might be wrong about this, but I thought that either on the Amazing Race Canada or it was the American one, there was like food thing, like
Food for a year.
healthy eating for a year or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I would. I want a trip or something. And for best prize, I think actually just the way financially it worked out, there was in the Amazing Race Family Edition, they gave out free gas for everybody on the team for the rest of their lives. And I was like, yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like to not have to pay for gas, because that adds up. So
That's a very good prize. I'm always looking for gift cards or gas cards and stuff like that. Even on like the McDonald's when it has the Monopoly, gas, you want gas for a year? Like, yeah, you do.
Have you ever met anybody that's won on the Monopoly thing?
Yes. Okay, so
you have. Okay.
I was working at a I think it was a Christmas party or New Year's Eve party at like this super fancy place in Yorkville, and basically at midnight or so for their midnight snack, they ordered like thousands of dollars of McDonald's, and it was all the Monopoly. It was Monopoly time. So all the fries, all the burger, like everything. And they're just like mountains of just food that had all the stickers on it. So people were like, okay, yeah, you got gas card. Does anybody have this? I'm like, I'll trade. Like, they're just so much to trade with. And so a lot of people won a lot of stuff there.
Wow. Very cool.
So yes, I have seen people win before. But it was when they bought like a few $1,000s worth of McDonald's.
All right, next question. Where now? I have 3 teams left. You have 2. I think this is how we're at right now for our poll. Which of the Alliance of 5 will be the first to go home?
I think Ishwar and Aparna.
I'm getting that vibe too. Just I don't see how they're going to. I don't think anybody's going to help them for sure. I think
they don't have like as very much fight.
They're slow on the tasks. Like
they don't seem to fix their mistakes quickly. There's no hustle. And so I think it's worked up until now for them, but I just don't think moving forward, they're going to have that much, luck. I think they've just been lucky that people have been worse, but I think that the teams are stronger than them.
All right, and if you were racing, the U-Turn returns next week. Which team of the 5 teams here would be at the top of your U-Turn hit list?
Probably Gary and D'Angelo.
Yeah, I mean, there's teams that I don't like, but I think I would say Riley and Madison, just because I think that I would be like, if Gary and D'Angelo, Riley, Madison, one of these teams need to get targeted. They need to feel what it's like at the bottom.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to next week. I want to see this alliance implode.
yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited to see who comes out on it. I have a feeling like it would be really interesting to go from an alliance of 5, and then now there's this alliance of 3. If they can make it to the end as well, this has been a very good alliance, and the 3 that are in there, they definitely controlled the race, and that's impressive. But only one team wins.
One team wins, but I'd rather have a 1 in 3 odds than a 1 in 11. So
definitely. Yeah.
So let's just get to the final 3 and let's figure it out.
Let's fight it out.
So I don't mind as a player if there of an alliance happening, but for this particular leg, I was kind of like womp womp with this alliance,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I get it as a player,
Yeah.
You make that decision for sure. So that's pretty much the mega leg. It was mega.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, obviously, but it wasn't.
I didn't hate it. Yeah.
It wasn't super impressive, in my opinion. Do you have anything coming up like down the pipe that you want to promote or talk about?
Nothing this week really. I'll get some stuff for you. I know that I hit the 10.
Yeah.
I'm over 10 on Twitter, and it can keep growing if people want to keep adding. Go for it. It's in the description there. But yeah, I did that. And I've had some donations for the Mustache for November that I'm doing. And so thank you, anybody that's listening that's done some donations for that. Really, really appreciate it. It's great.
Sweet. And for me, I kind of mentioned it. I don't know if I mentioned it on this last week, but I have started to mention it. I decided to play the All-Stars version of Big Brother Cheesecake, a season where I won. I won season 3, and I was invited back to play All-Stars. And, you know, I was going to say, no, I didn't want to do this because it's 85 days long. Like, it's actually a very long online game. But I finally said yes. So I believe that the cast is going to be revealed on Sunday. And Nick and Lindsay, who played season 4, are going to be covering it. And so
nice.
They're going to be Reality Realness. And so they're going to be doing a draft and a cast assessment on Sunday. It'll be released. And if you guys want to follow along, you know, you can see how well I do on this All-Stars season and hang out with Nick and Lindsay about what's going on week to week in the Big Brother Cheesecake All-Stars house. So I don't have the link yet, but it will be in the bio eventually when I have the proper link as to how you can catch these episodes. There's daily episodes of what's going on in the house, and then Reality Realness will be taking care of a weekly update and exit interview of each evictee.
Well, make us proud.
Oh my God, right? I had to go and win again. It's so hard.
You can do it. You can do it.
It's hard. It's hard. I'm such a big target. But there's a lot of others. So I think there's 4 winners, so that's good.
And I know that you're also doesn't Sequester, that's starting, isn't it?
On Sunday, yes. On Sunday, we're starting Sequester. I haven't cleared it with Audrey yet if I could do these exit interviews. So I'm actually going to send her an email after this and see if she'd be willing to allow Joji and I talk to the evicted or the, I don't know if it's called evicted, the eliminated house guest or eliminated person each week if they want to come on and chat with us. So we're just going to see if we can get the green light for that. And so we can ask people as they come out to come on and chat. So that's really exciting. And I'm excited to see Sequester, see some good gameplay. Like, I'm excited for sure.
Wonderful.
Woo. Well, that's all I got for today. Do you have anything else? No.
Nope. Do the survey, everybody listening. It's in the description. So click on it.
Yay! I'm doing it. I did it. Bye.
Bye.